Thank you. I also want to thank you for all showing up today. It's a terrific turnout. I think this is really an interesting story of kind of serendipity, different forces coming together over a long period of time. Trinity College has had a firefighting robot contest since 1995. And around 2000, a little earlier, 1998, something like that, a student from Nepal showed up, Amir Tamarkar. Amir has since gone on and got a PhD from Brown in electrical engineering. He's working at Sarnoff Labs in New Jersey. But that was the first of a series of Nepali students who came to Trinity, and many of them got interested in robotics. So that was one of the great things, is that somehow Amir saw an advertisement at his school that advertised Trinity. Now, how that ever got there, I don't know. I think it was probably under the, some alum or something like that, took a trek in Nepal and had a poster. And then, so Amir was interested in robotics, and we had more and more Nepali students interested in robotics, and they became very involved in the firefighting contest and on the Trinity robot team. So we had formed a team in 1995, and they marshaled around the team. The team does projects every year, and they build firefighting robots and also an autonomous land vehicle, which we race in Michigan every spring. And then in 2007, the Connecticut Council of Developmental Disabilities came along. This is all serendipity. And they said, we'd like to start a contest that has to do with assistive robotics. We want to use robots to help people with disabilities. So we worked with them closely and came up with a theme of RoboWaiter. RoboWaiter is a robot that will go to a refrigerator and get food for a person with disabilities during a snowstorm or some other event when the personal assistant is not present. So in the third year, this is now the third year of RoboWaiter. It started with 5 robots, it's gone to 14 robots, and last spring it was 25 robots from 5 countries. The winners were from Indonesia, so it's really an international event. Well, these gentlemen got interested in RoboWaiter, and through their Engineering 120 class and through the robot team. Binay and Sartak Kanal, another Nepali student, won a $10,000 grant from the Catherine Davis Peace Foundation in 2010, and they taught robotics in Israel during the Year of the Robot at the Matatek, which is the National Science Museum of Israel. And then Binay convinced Tashi and Bickey Shakya to go to Kathmandu last summer and to teach a course for 8th and 9th graders, 9th and 10th graders, in using RoboWaiter as the theme. So you can see that many forces came together over many years for them to do their job in Kathmandu last summer, and I want to welcome them and thank them, and thank the Urban Global Center for having us back.
I guess we should begin with a brief introduction of ourselves. My name is Tashi, and I'm a senior, and I'm majoring in electrical engineering.
And I'm Binay Poudel, senior as well, and also electrical engineering major.
I am Bickey. I'm a sophomore right now, and electrical engineering major.
To start off, let's just summarize what did we do. We conducted a 6-week-long workshop on robotics in Kathmandu, Nepal. We had 25 kids. One kid later dropped out due to some unforeseen circumstances, but then we had 24 kids, five groups or 5 teams, and so yeah, they built a robot. Why did we do it? I think we never really made it clear to ourselves, but I think the feeling was we just wanted to go, do something during the summer and have young high school kids, working on robots and get them interested in robotics and hopefully get them doing something creative like building a robot. Since this is a Center for Urban and Global Studies presentation, I thought it would be relevant to have some brief info about Kathmandu. As most of us know, it's the capital of Nepal, and it's also the largest city in Nepal, so it's a pretty big city. And it's a very dense city, and to put the density into perspective, Manhattan has a density of about 27,000 people per square kilometer, and Kathmandu has about 19,500. It's slightly less, but then you've got to take into account the fact that Manhattan is like a vertical city, whereas Kathmandu is a more spread out city, but it's still a very small city and it's very dense. And there are a lot of government offices, business institutions, and educational institutions as well. And it's the most literate part of the country. a brief history. It's been around for 2,000 years, and it's undergone a lot of changes. Kathmandu, it lies in a big valley, and this valley actually has 3 different sister cities, Kathmandu, Bhaktapur, and Lalitpur. It flourished as a trade route between India and China because it's smack in the middle between those 2 countries. And yeah, it was the name Kathmandu comes from an ancient temple that was built about 4 centuries ago. And the temple is called Kashtamandap, which means made out of wood. And it's believed that the temple was created, that's the temple right there, it was created out of wood from a single tree. And they didn't use any nails or nothing like that, so that's pretty impressive. And it's holding up pretty alright, so pretty impressive. And yeah, so the valley was subsequently conquered by the first Shah king in 1769, and then he made it part of Greater Nepal. Before that, Nepal was a bunch of small city-states, kind of like Greece, and yeah, he made it into one unified country. And the Shah rule ended in 2008. That was about 3 years ago, and this is the previously the Shah Royal Palace, which has been converted to a museum now. And we have some pictures just to give you an idea what Kathmandu is like. This is one of the many squares we find in Kathmandu, and in the squares you find people, socializing, people drinking tea and just talking, and it's a very nice atmosphere, kind of like the squares anywhere. And 2 things about this picture I think are striking. First of all, you can see that there's a lot of temples. We just count the number of temples, there's like at least 10. I think I counted 12 earlier. But yeah, there's a popular saying in Nepal that at one point in time there were as many temples as there were houses. And I don't think it's the case anymore, but you can definitely tell that there's a lot of temples. And second thing that strikes you is the architecture. Over here you have the more traditional Indian architecture. It's built out of stone, whereas over here you have the pagoda-influenced architecture from China and Thailand. And this is a typical shop. We don't have Walmart or big chain stores, and we do most of our shopping in small places like these. These are small family-owned businesses. You can see veggies, and there's like stuff to drink and eat. Yeah, this is a very familiar sight. And this is one of the main streets in Kathmandu. It runs right through the middle of the city, and it's a very busy street. And what I like about this picture is it shows you the green, the green theme followed by the public transport. All these white vehicles are public transportation vehicles. These have 3 wheels, and they're called Safa tempos. Safa meaning clean, and they're clean because the ones with the green stripes, they run on electricity, and they were introduced about 5 years ago. I think Sweden and Norway helped set this up, and yeah, thanks to them, pollution levels have gone down. And yeah, just some more pictures to show you the religious diversity and the cultural wealth of Kathmandu.
This is a picture of a very famous Buddhist stupa, Swambhunath, and this one is like Kathmandu. Nepal used to be called Hindu Kingdom, and this is like a picture from Pasupatinath, which is like the biggest temple of Hindu in Nepal, and there are some Babas like who spend their life for the sake of Lord Shiva, and like they pretty much spend all their life in temples. So after that background about Kathmandu, let's start like why we thought this project was kind of necessary. And to begin with, let's start with how is the education system in Nepal. So the school level is divided into 3 categories, and then we have high school. Unlike here, high school consists only 11th and 12th grade. So we have 1st to 5th grade as primary level, and where students learn basic classes like languages, science, social studies, and math. Same with lower secondary school. But after finishing their 8th grade, they have to choose between some classes, and that will basically determine their future. They need to choose whether to take extra maths or not. If they do, they have to like they can take science classes later on, but if they don't, they like path towards any field in science